What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and bringing another little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Mercury and Virgo in the seventh house. I was like, look at Mercury making connections. Now, when you talk about Mercury, some of the functions of Mercury is one, communication. This could be the kind of style that you speak, the energy that you give across when you speak, whether it's more intuitive or maybe it's more energized or maybe it's more practical, maybe it's more kind of thoughts. But it's also going to deal with, just like how you understand things, how you reason, how you, just the knowledge and how you attain that knowledge. Those are going to be some of the ways of how Mercury works in the chart. And then you think about Virgo. They are not only is Virgo ruled by Mercury, but Virgo is where Mercury finds its exaltation. And when a celestial body is in its in an exalted state, that's when the planet's highest functions are able to come through more easily. That's just like all the things that Mercury is just like, again, celebrated for. That's what the exaltation brings. And then Mercury's just chilling at home while it's doing it. So that's a great place to be. But Virgo is the mutable earth sign, and they are receptive or yin in nature. And Virgo really is, they're kind of like the magicians in a way, because now it's a little bit different from when Mercury is at home in Gemini, where it's just a lot of maybe more thoughts and oracular things that are going on. Now Mercury is able to take those thoughts and actually ground them, to put them to practical application, which is a great way I find Virgo energy translate. They have this really kind of strong mind to be able to figure out the patterns and things in the material, and figure out how to make them not just work but work more efficiently. Take the stuff that's in and it really exemplify what's going on, and then the stuff that's not working, we either need to repurpose it or get rid of it altogether. So that, the problem solvers, the I find Virgo is a really great energy too. It's just like a refinement. I think that there's a professional kind of mastery energy that comes behind Virgo as well. And then you talk about the seventh house. This in traditional astrology was known as the setting house, and this is going to be one of the angular houses. This is where the descendant lives. But some of the themes that this house is going to cover are going to be like marriage. This can be, or just like partnerships in general, and we're talking like one-on-one connections, whether it be one-on-one with like a friend, with a doctor, with a therapist, with a business partner, things along those lines. That's going to be the kind of relationships that the seventh house kind of covers there. Even in relationships to enemies as well. This is not just going to be all the people that support you, but also too, another really kind of fascinating thing with the seventh house is living abroad. That can be another area that kind of comes up with this energy. But when you're working with this placement, a couple of things to consider. You'd have a Pisces rising by whole sign, and you're gonna want to. Well, you don't actually have to look that far to see who rules this house, because Mercury does. Mercury's gonna be in charge of this house and of your fourth house, which is going to be deal with just like your home, your family, your parents, your ancestry, property. This could even be just like your foundation, your roots, and things like that. So one thing that I found really curious about this placement that I think would be very beneficial is if you can find opportunities to maybe go out and live abroad. Go out there and learn more about other people outside of yourself. Don't be afraid of, especially considering Mercury's opposing the ascendant. Yeah, go out there, and if you can maybe find, this would be like maybe like great, maybe you want to do like a digital nomad, because again, Mercury's making connections. So maybe you do something where you're working from home and you're just like making different connections, working with people overseas, or maybe you do something like with like a travel agent, or maybe real estate. That would be a really great one. Maybe you're doing something where you have like different properties overseas, or you manage other people's properties, or something along those lines. I think this Mercury would do really, really well in that, and in forming those types of connections. But and I, that's something too you may need to think about, like if you want to do, if you're thinking, because of course family is going to come into the mix there. So maybe that was something where you happen to come up in a family. Maybe you're wanting something a bit more stable. Maybe you're looking for someone a bit more grounded, but having that mutable placement in the home space not that you have to move everywhere, like hop in an RV, but that might be the kind of lifestyle that you like living. One that is a bit freer, one that you can kind of take the home with you and just kind of go where the wind blows, go where you feel called to. I think that that would not just enrich in your life, but the life of the people that you experience. You're going to learn different languages, maybe of course you're going to experience different cultures, and so again, that's just going to enrich in all the people that you would consider a part of your family as you grow along this thing. And that might be something too. Maybe you have like a wide variety of relationships. You got families a little bit everywhere here. You got your family in Hawaii, you got your family in Spain, you got your, I don't know why Spain's down here, but you know what I mean. But another thing too that I think that this would kind of benefit, this Mercury here would, I think, find a lot of benefits in maybe even just like having a therapist or just someone that you like, a mentor, someone that you're able to get some perspective from, that you're able to, because we can only see ourselves so deeply. I think we need that outside source to help us see the blind spots that we don't. And it's not to, I find that I think with that, that's just going to help just make you a more just well-rounded individual as well, and help you to bring more to your relationships that you form. And again, learn from all of your relationships, the ones that are going great. What are the things that make that experience great, how we evolve, but the ones that even kind of fizzled out over time are the ones that maybe ended contentious. Why did that happen? What were some things that were going on? Were we just in different parts of life? Were there just these conflicting interests there? So that I know what to look out for in the next relationships that I form. So that, because that's another thing too. Working with like, I think like just kind of analyzing your foundation and your roots, talking with different people is going to help you notice any sort of like, if there are any kind of repeating themes along those lines. But I think even too, not just you receiving this sort of like mentorship and therapy, but then eventually you giving this sort of guidance there, taking the breadth of experience that you've had and helping people broaden their world in a sense. And whatever that looks like, that again could be through therapy, through some sort of like life coaching, some sort of mentorship, something along those lines where you're maybe helping people get curious about their foundation, curious about ways that they can grow in things. Another thing that I would even look into, considering that the fourth house kind of flows to this, even thinking about your relationship with your ancestry. Maybe maybe you live in, an easy one is like America, maybe you happen to have roots in Africa or maybe in Asia, maybe in Europe. And so you go to look at those areas and see what you can learn about that stuff, see what sort of like insights may come up for you for that. You may find something of use that you can put into that. Maybe you find that you come from a line of farmers or something, some sort of talent that you never thought that you wanted to explore, or it explains why maybe you've been getting a certain calling, and then you see all along this is just something that's been inherent, that's maybe been trying to manifest, and now you're someone who's able to carry this kind of dream along here. So yeah, those would be just some really kind of base things that I would just kind of talk about with this person. You definitely need the whole chart to get an idea of what's going on with this. And I would love to hear if you have this placement or know someone who's working with this placement down in the description box. Yeah, share with us this story. Have you found yourself maybe you got yourself a little travel buddy, maybe you got your spouse and you were all kind of moving around and things like that, just kind of just living that sort of like nomadic life, just kind of just again going where the wind takes you. But also, if you want to explore this placement more, you're getting curious about your natal chart, or you want to see what any sort of like what transits are going to be going on with your to Virgo or wherever other placements that you have. Down in the description box, I have a link for all the services that I provide, the prices for them, how to set up an appointment with me. And if you have any questions about that, want to get somebody more information, there is a link to get in, or at least my email's down there, so you can get in touch with me that way. Also, too, if you want to follow the weekly transits, I do videos on this channel that come out every Mercury day. That's a Wednesday. And yeah, it just talks about where the planets are at and how to work with those energies, how to set intentions as best you can with the charts and the energies that are available to you. And then, I gotta watch out for that mic. And then last little thing, if you want to follow the lunar shenanigans on my other channel, The Chariot and Friends, I do videos that cover the lunar astrology, and I do a tarot card reading and an I Ching reading in there as well. So all sorts of mysticism for you. But until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.